more minutes. How much is it total?
12.
12? And this is your latest piece, right?
Yeah, literally just finished it like a day ago.
Oh, wow. And you're just going to do some last minute stuff.
You interviewing me already?
What?
Is it like recording already?
It's been recording.
Oh, shoot. Okay. All right.
We're just hanging. We're just talking.
Good.
Yeah. So, Kat, before you got here, I was watching it a little bit, and Frank didn't want to tell me anything about it, because he was like, just watch it, we'll talk about it afterwards.
Right.
And it's been really fun to like pick out these parts that are very obviously related to New York City urban culture, and then also just this idea of like big cities and in terms of the imagery. But I think it's this comparison between that and then these really, really subtle, quiet moments as well. Do you want to like
different spheres of urban, like like we think of this as like domestic because it's a house that people live in, but it's the same.
Yeah, totally. Do you want to talk like what exactly is this referencing? Is this referencing another short story or another folklore that I know that you worked a lot with other pieces, or is there a combination of that in your own sort of storyline?
Yeah, I mean, I think you decipher all the symbols pretty well in this video, because you watched it through just now, But there are two main characters in this video. There's a dog with a phonograph head, with a beach ball face. I mean, at the beginning of the process, actually, I was thinking about using the beach ball desk, like on computer when you're stuck somewhere, right? Like it's like a gesture, you're stuck there, and it's not definitely unpleasant. But then I was like, why don't I just use a real beach ball? And after talking to a friend, actually, like he gave me some good idea too. And then the other symbol is there's a character. He's like a traveler, obviously, with that neck pillow thing when you're taking flight, and you're gonna have that. So he's constantly on expedition, but also he's a racer with a racing helmet. So he's constantly he has to constantly dealing with extreme conditions, I guess. So there are like these oppositions I really enjoy dealing with.
But at least his neck is supported.
Yeah, I like to see you choosing a very what I think of as a millennial image to represent a traveler as a neck pillow.
Right.
It's like such
a people with a neck, and me.
I mean, I certainly use neck pillows.
I have 10 neck pillows.
I have 10, yeah.
Every time I forget to bring it, and then
you just buy
a new one in the airport. So some feels better, some just make my neck hurt.
I know which ones are good.
Yeah.
Try them out.
Yeah. But there's something funny about these characters, I guess, because he's the main character, that guy, that racer or traveler. He's obviously alone, and he has a really good friend who's a dog. Because that's interesting to me, like when we walk in the street on your daily expedition, or maybe you're running errands, we don't really smile to strangers, but we always smile at a stranger dog.
Huh.
Yeah.
And it's this sort of by proxy way to connect with people.
Yeah. And I sort of have like a long-term plan. I was working on pig last year, and this year's dog, and I kind of want to make the Chinese zodiac thing in reverse though. Like in reverse order.
So will this
Can
be?
you do the dragon next fix?
No, next year is gonna be chicken. The next year is chicken.
No, you can't.
You're
Yeah,
doing
it's not up
with
to
each
you.
year. Okay. Yeah, I understand that.
But that's like
So is this the second one then of that idea of these 12 zodiacs?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really want to kind of like advertise this idea, because this is kind of like some hidden Eastern egg or code in the. I would rather have the viewers decipher that, like after seeing my works in for 12 years, discover that.
When you originally did the first piece with the pig, that wasn't the idea. You had there was a book and a specific. No, it wasn't a book.
It was a book. Yeah.
It's based off of a story from a book, right?
Yeah, it was an old Chinese book, and about that drunk guy, who was a really intellectual poet, and but that's our last work.
But then, so when you came up with this dog image,
yeah,
then you started putting together. I'm actually subconsciously following the Chinese zodiac.
Well, the dog symbol also, it's always a process. Like when I was developing this idea, and I was finding a way trying to transform this dog, makes him make the dog looks like a very friendly symbol, but also kind of like a monster too.
Mm-hmm. And you selected Dalmatian, which is a really specific breed.
Or is it a Great Dane?
Yeah.
It's a Great Dane.
It's a Great Dane. There's a reason for that, actually. Yeah.
Are we going to know about that reason?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I can totally tell you.
The Great
That's
Dane?
that's no secret, you know.
This makes me think of the Great Dane trucking company, because that was a company, I think, based out of Savannah, Georgia. And there's this huge statue on the highway of the giant, like, spotted Great Dane.
You know well, I mean, I can probably tell you from the beginning, because the title of this short film, Rotation Method, that's actually a theory in Kierkegaard's Either Or, that book. And he's like kind of considered as the very first existentialist. And that short chapter of Rotation Method, it actually talks about boredom. You know, so it's kind of really related to my loneliness in Providence. I mean, overall, this film.
I think there's definitely, you get at those points that feeling of loneliness, that feeling
I think the sound helps too.
The sound certainly helps. I think the sound really brings it together. And you said that the sound is a collaboration with a cellist who's based in Brooklyn?
Yeah. Williamsburg. His name is Jacob Cohen.
Jacob Cohen.
So this is what he came up with when watching your video.
Yeah.
So he's responding in real time to this film and playing cello.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so beautiful.
Yeah. Well, we chat a little bit, and he has seen this work in progress before, like I sent it to him.
Okay.
We talked a little bit, but I really want to, because I guess overall this whole thing, like I don't want to feel afraid of talking about life. This thing.
Yeah.
Like, because people can feel afraid of talking about this such a big topic, right? But what is life? I don't know, but I know how it makes me feel like, and I want to see how it makes the celloist feels like too when he's playing. And I think all these feelings are conveyed pretty successfully through his performance.
What did you say the image of the beach ball was?
That was the computer symbol of beach ball of death. Like when your computer freezes.
Oh, right, when your computer freezes, it's kind of that pinwheel idea too.
Yeah.
Stuck.
So just make it tangible, like a real beach ball,
I love that.
It's like a joke, kind of like an inside joke.
Yeah. A nerd joke.
Yeah.
A coder joke. I don't know.
Yeah, I just feel like most of my works or short films or video installation works are really just self-portraits to me, obviously,
I
right?
agree with that.
Yeah.
Well, there's such a huge contrast between this and your last body of work and the stuff that I saw a couple years ago at Governor's Island, which was like very visually just overloaded.
Aggressive.
That's also me.
And it was, and this is much more like moody, melancholic, but also like more minimalist in your choice of like characters, like who goes in and how much is going on in the scene.
Yeah.
It's much slower paced. The other one was just like chaos, and there was more.
Right.
I felt like there was more like a direct sort of rebellious humor to it, and there's just
Absolutely.
you must have just been feeling differently.
Well, I mean, I also want
Providence is getting
to.
to.
Well, I'm glad I made the decision that not to fill up every scene this time, and actually, for visual, in terms of visual decision, like when we get to that scene, you see that body of water start sinking. Actually, the scene is elevating, right? Mm-hmm. And these are the compositions that I purposely made them uninteresting, because these compositions suggest kind of like a set play. Like you watch it from a distance usually. And that's why actually this is a video that there are a lot of details in it. Well, the viewers the first time when they watch it will probably miss. Like there are tiny characters in it. And,
Yeah, I agree with that.
Modelo. It's beer that you drink.
It's not beer. It's real beer.
Okay, so we were talking about this already, but because we were talking about these 3D, is my finger in it?
Yeah.
We were talking about these objects as they relate to the film, because these are still shots of those waves that you're sort of creating, right?
Yeah.
So why do you feel it necessary to bring them out into the real world as objects?
That's a good question, actually. Well, because that process actually fascinates me. I never considered 3D prints as sculptures, but considering somebody like me came from a sculptural background,
Right.
But this process is interesting and involves multiple steps of transformation from a totally virtual image, like everything is generated in a digital way. You cannot touch them. And then you actually capture that in an animation, like you froze a moment, you froze a node point and then directly output that. To me, that's that's more like idea of photography actually. And in my short films, this work and last work too, I think you can really consider these as films, but at the same time, to me, it's also like a random collection of photographs, as real objects.
Like
And I just-
photographs of like inside of what's going on in your head.
Yeah, they're all moving images, but like why can a photo be moving image?
So you sort of see these as a photograph of those moving images. I love that.
Conceptually, although they're tangible objects,
Sure.
and they are, it's like a technique you can very easily achieve if you know how. In the program I use, like it's called, it's like a way to simulate fluid or dynamics. Yeah.
Cool.
You just have to tweak the numbers.
So then, this piece that's on the floor and with the headphones, is
Yeah.
that separate from?
That's separate, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So they're
I
just
thought
living
they were
together at
all
the moment.
Yeah.
one thing.
Although that character, to me it's like an ironic piece. It's like a very sarcastic piece, because there's a tiny figure who is the main character in the short film.
Oh, that is him. Okay.
Yeah, and he's constantly digging, and exactly the same gesture is actually in a moment in that film.
So again, we're talking about those moments that you might have missed the first couple times that you watch it.
Yeah.
And here we get to see that isolation with this character.
Yeah, and I kind of want to like provide the viewers like a God's view. You're just like spinning on top of the person, and that's like a lonely dude just keep digging. But that's like a
Eternally.
gesture. It's totally open-ended because that guy can be mining for gold, and that guy can also be just like cleaning up his backyard.
Right, burying a body.
What is the relationship?
Yeah, right.
What's the
digging his own
relationship
grave.
between him digging and your music sheet
music,
with
yeah.
the guitar music?
You know that song?
Huh?
You know that song?
I don't know if I listened to it long enough to.
That's my cover of the Cocaine Blues.
Oh,
So I actually
okay.
have a long-term interest in old-time blues, because blues to me is like black music, right? And folk music is really like white music, and like I play guitar just for fun, and I always play these old-time blues came from 1890.
But you're not black.
No, but
I'm
that's
just kidding.
No, that's a really good question. Is I think like identity-wise, there are some common places. Like I'm here, and this is not like a naturally familiar place for me. And a lot of my ancestors, they came here as like gold miners in San Francisco, or like they built rail, like train tracks. So I guess that's a reason why I got really into that genre of music too. Like I play a lot of it, and I just enjoy like how they sound. So if you really
Is
look
it
at
just instrumental?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, you can sing it if you want, like there's lyrics. But I think that part actually resonates with the short film, like, 'cause as I said, I'm not afraid of talking about life and how it works and maybe how it just doesn't work, and I think blues music is really much about it,
Okay.
And
So it's maybe not as much about like labor as much as it is like.
it's I think
trying
it's just
to
being
know.
sarcastic to
Yeah.
life, this thing.
What is
generally.
it? Is it Sisyphus that pushes the?
Yeah, that's by Commune.
Yeah.
No,
really
that's
pushes-
Sisyphus?
Is it that pushes the ball up the hill and then it rolls
Yeah.
back down?
Oh,
Yeah, Sisyphus.
Sort of like that.
right. It's that eternal struggle, that never-ending toil. Is that the right word?
So uplifting.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope it's open-ended,
I know.
I think it is really open-ended.
I like to make jokes.
I think it's totally a little sarcastic. I think that it's interesting to hear you talk about where your family comes from in terms of your family's place in the U.S. As miners, and you initially seeing that as a mining thing. But does he ever really find the gold? No. Or maybe he does, but we'll never know it.
I mean, I didn't have any family came. I'm the first immigrant, Chinese immigrant in my family to American.
Oh wow. Okay.
But just I feel like conceptually it's kind of.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. So,
So,
this isn't really specifically to your family, but to the history of Chinese people in the U.S. as a whole,
I
right?
guess it's like it can be like a generic experience to that group. That I can really relate it to. If you think about like these old song by old blues masters. You know, like the lyrics are always very sad because it's very much about like how life doesn't work, right, and all these things you suffer in life. Because they were slaves literally at a time.
Yeah.
And they play because maybe the person is blind, so he cannot work in the field, and he has to entertain other people. And so the lyric is always very sad, like I'm about to die, and when I'm gone, and things like that. I'm gonna go somewhere else. My woman left me, things like that. But when the melody is playing, it actually makes you smile. So I think that's just a very fascinating attitude.
Well, I think it also relates a lot to or at least what I feel is what you're talking about in your work, is that dichotomy, is the ability to have all of those emotions existing at the same time, and finding ways in order to continue through that process of life despite having all of these different things happening.
You always go on, right? That's what, like, symbolic-wise, actually, in the short film, well, since the title is called Rotation Master, that's why everything I picked to put in animation spins, like the turn, like the turnstile or fidget spin. And fidget spinner is just a weird thing. Like, why everyone got so into that?
It was totally a thing for like a second.
Yeah, right?
Maybe like a year. Everybody on the street was selling them.
It's so strange.
Incredible.
Yeah, I'm just kind of like fascinated by all these things that's happening for a reason without a reason, But it's a part of.
They're like arbitrary, but somehow they all kind of fit into the larger puzzle of
It's
our
pretty absurd to me.
experience. Yeah, totally. I think it's really crazy. And for people to try to like label all of them and try to nitpick about all of those things is also, I think, really absurd.
Yeah.
Is like really being hyper focused on all these little details that already happen. You can't control them anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's because of boredom, right?
Yeah. Oh, totally. Cool.
So what's next for you? What do you got going on?
Oh man, I just finished this short film, and I have ideas, but right now I'm just at a stage to recover from, like, I cannot watch this film anymore.
Yeah, that's what you were telling me.